No, the second accelerated promotional program that I went on was the High Potential Detective Training Program. And this program, successful members would be promoted to the rank of Detective Inspector. For the first program that I mentioned, successful participants were promoted to the rank of Assistant Superintendent. And that is the reason why when I was taken off the program, it had affected me so bad. Because having passed the polygraph, I actually told my mother that, Mommy, I'm going to turn soup, and start both and make preparation for go on the program. I actually called Yui and made inquiries as to how to go about getting leave of absence to that extent. So it really affected me. So I had some doubts about applying for the high potential program. And so it went through the first time and they never got enough persons, and so they invited applications a second time, and that is when I applied and I got through on this program. The program commenced in February of 2013. There were some discrepancies in the program, administrative, and it caused the program to be extended for a further 6 months. This extension saw me being placed at the St. Andrew South Division, the Hunts Bay Police Station. Now, my supervisor at the St. Andrew South Division was Detective Inspector Colin Mackenzie. And my commanding officer was DCP Stewart. He was then SSP Stewart. And when I was introduced to Mr. Stewart by Mr. Mackenzie, they actually indicated to me that they were very good friends. So this is not somebody telling me. I am telling you, based on what they told me, that they were very good friends. And from I went to the division, Detective Inspector Colin Mackenzie have been making advances at me, relationship-wise. And mind you, I am not flustered by these things. Being a female in a male-dominated organization when it looks so bad, naturally you're going to get these advances. But what I have a problem with is when your advances are not encouraged, when you take it out on the persons who are under your command. And I'm going to point out to you what happened, and then you can decide if you consider this to be malicious. Now, when Detective Inspector Mackenzie did my final assessment, I remember, based on the administrative discrepancy that we spoke about, they were saying that participants got too high of a score in the last assessment, so they were warned not to give us too high of a score. So when he did my assessment, I got 76%, which was actually considered to be high at the time. 2 weeks later, when I was on leave overseas, I was told by other members that a second assessment was being requested for the same period. That surprised me because I know that we never did anything further. So why would we need to be assessed further? And I never paid it any mind because I know that I was not there to sign any assessment, so I was not worried. We were later invited to an exit interview at the police academy. And it was at that exit interview, which was led by DCP Clifford Blake, and I think Mr. ACP Elon Powell was there and somebody else. And at that exit interview, my assessment was read out to me. And I realized that everything that I was assessed on 2 weeks prior to the assessment that they now had for me, everything was cut in halves. So the number of cases that I investigated was cut in half, and the number of clear-up also was cut in half. And this was done by Detective Inspector Colin Mackenzie. Now, if there were a lot of persons under his command at this point, I can understand him making those errors. But it was just 2 persons who were to be assessed on this program. And the assessment that went to the commanding officer, Mr. Stewart, it never had my signature on it. And those assessments must have the assessee's signature to show that they agree with the score that was given. And instead of Mr. Stewart asking why my signature was not on the file, on the assessment, he went ahead and said that I was not recommended for a promotion. It was at the exit interview that I found this out, and I indicated to the panel, I said, no, sir, that is not correct. That is another misrepresentation of information. And they were asking me if I have proof, and I said yes. And they asked me to email the proof to DCP Blake. And I exited the interview, and I emailed the document to DCP Blake. And he accepted receipt. I didn't stop there though. I printed a hard copy and walked with it to his office up by the towers. And I handed it to him personally. And when I gave him and he perused it, him cussa badod. And him said, look how I tell these people to do due diligence. And at this them do. And him said, Miss Taylor, I'll deal with it. The other persons who were recommended for a promotion, and I indicated to him, I said, sir, I am not saying that with this result I want Mr. Stewart to recommend me. What I'm saying is, present this result, present the accurate assessment to Mr. Stewart, and then let him decide if I am to be promoted. Because that assessment that was presented, it would show that I performed way below the other person who was there. So naturally, I wouldn't expect him to recommend me. So that is all I was asking for. Give him the chance to do a fair assessment of me. And the persons who were recommended at that stage were promoted. And no matter how much checks, or how many checks I made to find out why I was not promoted, nothing same way. I remember the group eventually took the matter to court, and eventually it went to a point of mediation. And when this present commissioner took office, Mr. Anthony Anderson, he indicated that all the remaining persons on the program must be promoted once there is nothing adverse against their names. And our promotions were dependent on three things: a work worth and conduct report, a recommendation from the division, and a PMAS, a completed performance management appraisal system form. And my PMAS, the score for my PMAS was 91.5%. My work worth and conduct was excellent, and I still have a copy of it. And I had an excellent recommendation from the division. Those were the three things our promotions were dependent on. And it was on the 2nd of December 2018 that I got word that my name was not on the list of promotion. And I was supposed to go on leave on the 4th of December. And I went up to CIB HQ on the 3rd of December. And I made inquiries as to why my name is not on the list of promotion, and I was directed to ACP Sutherland. When I went to ACP Sutherland, he told me, Miss Taylor, I can confirm with you that your name is not on the list for promotion. But as to the reason, I cannot say. He said, what I can tell you is that there's absolutely nothing adverse against your name. He said, because I don't know of the reason why your name is not on the list, I'm going to bring it to DCP Stewart and see if he can shed some light on it. And he went out the office, and he went to, well, I'm assuming that he went to DCP Hayes' office. And then he came back and told me that we're going to his office. And when I sat before DCP Hayes, I told him, I said, sir, I'd like to know, having met all the requirements for a promotion, why my name is not on the list for a promotion. He told me that it's either administrative or a polygraph. I said, sir, first of all, polygraph was never part of the high potential program. And if it is administrative, why is it not on my file? And it was at that point that I went in detail about what took place on the NAP, everything that I outlined in the first video. I told him of this. And I said to him, sir, why is it that I am at this level and no one is able to tell me definitively why my name is not on the list for promotion? He started to get not angry, but, flustered, short-tempered. And he said, but Miss Taylor, may I tell you, sir, either administrative or polygraph? So I said, yes, sir, but for you to be telling me either or, it simply means that you don't know. And at this point, I would like to know. And that was when ACP Sutherland told me that he was going to make certain checks and get back to me. He later contacted me to say that this is nothing official, but he would advise me to do a second polygraph interview. I said, sir, I am very uncomfortable about doing another polygraph interview because I don't trust the polygraph system in the JCF. And I also penned an email to him and outlined to him, outlining what took place with me and the NAP program as I outlined in the first video, and expressed to him that that is the reason why I don't trust the polygraph system in the organization. And I kept pushing. I kept wanting to find out, why am I not being promoted? Why my name is not on the list? There's absolutely nothing adverse against me. I met all the requirements. And why my name is not on the list? I was not getting any answer regardless of who I go to, and I go to all the persons I could go to. That's why when I tell you that all persons in high command or most persons in high command will know of my situation, because I speak to everybody who would give a listening ears. And that is when I eventually went to the commissioner's office and said I was going to lay in wait for him. And I was told that he was at a meeting at the 3rd floor, and I sat at the door and said I was not leaving there until I see him come out. And I don't know how they hide the commissioner from me, but they eventually told me that he went downstairs and I had to go to the 2nd floor. And they told me to go to SP Wood. When I went to SP Wood and told her that I would like to have dialogue with the commissioner, she said that I can't do it that way. Before I say this, I should inform you that from this commissioner took office, 1 month after he took office, I applied to have dialogue with him. And 2 years later, when I keep calling to check on my application, each time they keep telling me that my file is still being vetted, my file is still being vetted. And when I ask them the things that are outstanding, when I check the agencies that they said the files are outstanding from, the agencies indicated that they submitted those files from a year before. So that is why I decided to lay in wait for the commissioner, because every chance I try, every attempt I make, or every attempt that was made to have dialogue with the commissioner was blocked. And she told me that she would have to bring me to DCP Stewart. I said, ma'am, DCP Stewart cannot help me. I have spoken to DCP Stewart on numerous occasions, and DCP Stewart cannot help me. The only person who can help me at this point is the commissioner. She insisted that she cannot just bring me to the commissioner like that. I still have to speak with DCP Stewart. And I met with DCP Stewart in the presence of Mr. ASP Raymond Wilson and SP Wood. And at the meeting, Mr. Stewart said, Tamika, your PMAS is excellent. Your work worth and conduct is excellent. You have an excellent recommendation from your division. Bear in mind, those were the 3 things that our promotions were dependent on. And he admitted that I met those requirements. He said the only thing that is stopping you from being promoted is your polygraph. And if you don't do your polygraph, you'd not get promoted to go do your polygraph. He said, sir, with tears in my eyes, I said, sir, why am I being asked to do a polygraph? And Mr. DCP Richard Stewart, who is in charge of admin, he looked at me in the presence of ASP Wilson and SP Wood and told me that the reason I am being asked to do a polygraph is because the system is showing that I failed one. Mind you, ladies and gentlemen, this is the same polygraph that the commissioner told me that I failed in 2011. that I told every member of High Command about at every different interval, so they know about it. And this was the polygraph that Mr. Stewart was making reference to say that the system is showing that I failed a polygraph, and that is why I'm being asked to do another polygraph. That is why I was singled out to do a polygraph. And it is after that that I met with the commissioner. And the commissioner could read my polygraph results and tell me that I never failed it.